Hey y'all, welcome to Two Dope Crones
Oh yeah, it's the full or the
on a
super
very
moon.
super moon in Capricorn.
It's past now, pretty much, I think. But
They say it lingers.
yeah, the energies
Yeah,
definitely
the energies
linger.
linger.
And for
Yeah.
bipolar people and people with PTSD, it lingers longer. And that's the name of a store.
The store
around
near
here,
us.
so
That's why we're
funny.
laughing. Yeah.
And it can be quite disruptive. If you want to
Yeah,
tell a
it
little
can be.
bit about your disruptions today, and I mean, I always feel the full moon.
Yeah.
The full moon is when the sun and the moon are in opposite zodiac signs, and so that's called an opposition in astrology, and it kind of feels like that to me. It feels more oppositional, and like the full moon is beautiful. We think of it as kind of the romantic side of the moon, but I found the dark side of the moon to be more romantic because it's when the sun and the moon are together. So it's like them shutting the door, like
we're calmer.
do not disturb. We are
We're
calmer during the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, that's my favorite time
But today
of the
we're freaking out, man.
month. Yeah. The
Well,
energy's all goofed up.
I've actually been surprisingly calm, but it's been a gushing river that's just
I thought I was till I started trying
on
to
the
function.
outside.
You know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you scramble a
But my
bit.
functioning's never high on a full moon day. I even did everything that I could do to make sure I slept last night. I actually really slept. We're just going to always be saying this in case somebody's new. I have PTSD and bipolar 1. I was traumatized from infancy on, so it's the most severe mental illness you can have. I have hallucinated and fought demons and talked to dead people and done all that stuff, and not been able to function real well in the world the way everybody is supposed to function. But that just is what it is. But what happened is this morning we were doing some yoga stuff together and some Jin Shin, and I was crying the whole time. And that's not usual. And then I was trying to do Crow Chronicles, which is I'm the one doing the little crow cards and talking 5 days a week. And on days like today, it takes me about 15 takes to do a minute. And so by the time it's all done, I'm so mad I could break something. And that's what it was like.
It really, your two most powerful ones have been
the bad ones when it was 15 takes.
Yes, when they have more time to refine. And that was the message today, was things take time.
Yeah, I did say
here
that
on this
in
channel,
the end.
we're taking our time refining what we're doing.
Yes.
Because we want to show our process. We want to show our work.
Yes.
And we are learning everything as we are telling it. So it's not coming from a position of we are the authority. It's coming from we are navigating this territory that society doesn't want us to navigate.
And we're willing to talk about it because there are many of us hiding in plain sight. And you all know who you are. That's why you're seeing this.
Yeah, and I have been diagnosed as bipolar 1, but I don't believe that I am. I believe I'm just a woman.
I think she's bipolar 1 rapid cycling. That technically, that's what they call it. But what we both think, for real, is that this is natural. Because I see my animals reacting. I didn't tell you this. My 2 female dogs are on edge today. They both, I just barely touched both of them, and they both jumped about 10 feet. So I'm going to start watching my dogs. Watch your animals too. I've learned so much from watching animals since we've been living on the edge of this forest. And seeing how much, I've always thought we were a lot alike, but seeing patterns, that's what I've started seeing that I didn't see before. Because I didn't have access to like a giant room. Well, it's not a giant room, but it's big enough. A big room full of windows and with the windows overhead. So I can see everything they're doing, and I see how they change as the seasons change.
Well,
just like we do.
This is what humans lack. We are not paying attention to each other's cycles, habits, rhythms. We're not paying attention to each other.
Yeah.
And paying attention to animals could help us do that, but we've completely divorced ourselves from the mammal world.
Yeah, because supposedly we're superior.
We need to reintegrate our animal, like we have a limbic system that is commonly associated with the mammalian brain, and it's connected to our emotions, our intuition, our inner world.
They
And
call it the
that's what-
reticular activating system, and it's in the back of your head at the base of the skull,
which is actually
also,
called the window to consciousness.
Yeah, I was going to say it's also 2 pressure points if you're doing Jinshin or some yoga poses,
It's at the
or
first
Qigong or
cervical
any of those things.
the first cervical vertebrae.
Right.
And we wanted to show you a few things here, just quick, energetic pick-me-ups or things to do
Or
when
calmers.
you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The simplest one is just touching your palm, like there's a button in the center of your palm. If you need to feel calmer or if you need to feel anything, you can just imagine this is like a order button. You can be like, I need to feel energy in this meeting. I need to feel calm during this crisis. I need to feel
You can state an intention.
Yeah,
with it.
be
It's very similar to
intentional.
this, as many cultures recognize this. You know, in Jinshin, this is what it is, but it's the same thing. It's centering. It's about centering, and
you can invent your own, whatever helps you feel centered.
Yes, in the book that I follow, which follows the phases of the moon, she suggests that when you're doing these hand mudras, or the mudras on your body, we're going to show you another one. These hand mudras, she suggests holding them 20 minutes each if you can, a minimum of 3 minutes. So if you're standing in the grocery line, do this. You can do this. I've been doing yoga in grocery lines since I was in my 20s.
But
so both sides.
And
You
the
wanna do both
importance of
sides.
the intention is that we take in 11 million bits of information every second, and we can only process 40 to 50 bits. It's a pretty drastic difference.
Yes, it is.
And what were you saying about everything that we're taking in, that 40, 50 bits?
It's based on our history.
So you're only seeing what you've already seen before.
Yes,
you're
the brain,
not
the
registering
brain is
new
choosing
information.
to recognize what it's familiar with. So if you're trying to change your health, your life, your relationships, your art,
You have to get out of your comfort zone.
you have to get out of your comfort zone, which means that you have to start allowing yourself to see things you've never seen before. And so that's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
The reason we do this is because it's comfortable. You know, it's like when I've seen a stag in the forest that shouldn't be alive because his horns point forward, and that's not considered conducive to, any kind of health for a stag. I figure this guy must be so intelligent because he's lived to be quite large. So somehow he's learned to work with what he has.
Which is funny because this is the buck moon.
This is the buck moon. I forgot. You're so good at remembering that stuff.
Capricorn is the sign of personal power in the world. Like if there was, actually everything we're doing is relating it to the sacral chakra, but I've always connected it to the solar plexus chakra, which is also our personal power.
Yeah.
Feeling competent and brave and having self-esteem out in the world, which I think that is a crisis right now. People do not feel...
Well, let's call it what it is, really is. Your ability to love yourself.
Yeah.
Which means to give yourself grace. And I'll just throw this in because I've got my little Lutheran background that I still lean on for things. My favorite thing, and I say it daily, in the morning and at night usually, along with the other things that I am grateful for and whatever, I say that I forgive myself for the things I've done and the things I have left undone. That was part of Lutheran confession.
Oh,
and
okay.
I really like it, so I keep it.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, I don't worry about that stuff. I'm like,
No.
life is life, and I do what I can do. Like I've always had this, I have called it a supernatural assurance, but it's from feeling a sense of basic safety for whatever reason. I call it just having had a good mother who never chipped away at my self-esteem. Like we didn't have much stimulation. Like we weren't taught much. I think Americans, this is what I'm talking about. We're not taught any of this. We don't know our own vessels. That is terrible. We should at least be learning this.
This
in
is
school.
what should be happening instead of
but
home ec. You need to know your own body.
Spleen right here
I'm
under
gonna
the
move this
left
forward. You keep talking.
rib cage. Well, I mean, I'm just asking
here.
questions like, do you know where your, like, if
Well,
I
you
said
wanna
pancreas,
know.
do you know where your pancreas is?
Yeah, you want to
And
know.
this is not a, like, shaming, like,
No.
it's just something to be aware of. We rely on a medical system which relies on insurance companies.
And they don't care where your spleen is.
Nobody wants you to be healthy. We have to take our health into our own control and view it as a responsibility, I think. I mean, I keep dealing with people with medical crises. Even today,
Yeah.
I take a woman to dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and she's getting to the point where she can't even walk. I had to take her to the ER, and they sent her home, even though she still can't walk. People just don't know. Her whole family is with her now, but they live like in nearby towns. I don't know what they're going to do, and they all seemed nonplussed, like in shock. And I just had to be like,
They have no idea what to do because they know nothing about bodies, and they've only listened to the medical system, which has turned into a representative for insurance and pharmacology.
yeah.
You
And
know,
you just hand over everything to them, and they take care of it and send you the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exorbitant, and everyone
And then you die.
Everyone lives
seriously.
in some kind of blissful ignorance, but it's not, because we're all
And we know
sick
we
and
just
sad.
heard the story of a woman that I'm learning to care about deeply. And she had, I'm not going to name the disease because I can't remember it, but she had something that affects your ligaments in your body, and they turn into big lumps of...
the fascia in our bodies,
Thank
the
you. She's
connective
better.
tissue turns into like is it solid?
hard, solid, rock hard things. And she went to a doctor who didn't bother to explain that there were different ways of handling this. He just started cutting things off her feet.
Away. Yeah.
This happened for 10 years. And she was in agony for 10 years, lost her marriage, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, she ended up going to a woman doctor who had gotten her degree that she went to school with. And she said, would I be better off, I'm going to put my foot up so they can see, if we cut it off from here down? And the woman said, I've just been waiting for you to ask me. That's horrible. That is just horrible. You have to know your own body.
Advocate.
You have to take care of yourself.
And we are trying to teach prevention.
Yes,
Healing
and
then prevention.
you don't get any credit when you go to a doctor's office for prevention. None. I went in 3 months ago. I'd had some really horrible hypoglycemic things happening, and I remembered that I'd had that happen when I was in my 20s. And so I went to see my doctor, and I asked him if I could get one of those testing kits so I could test throughout the day and find out what the issues were, what was causing this problem, was I not eating enough, what was going on. And he said that because I'd been tested and I was hypoglycemic, they would have a hard time getting those tests for me. So I grinned and I go, so no points for staying in wellness, right? And he goes, absolutely right. All the doctors I know who are actually good doctors hate being doctors now because they are not allowed to be doctors. They can only do things that they can justify to an insurance company, and that's why they sent her home today.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because being humane cannot be
It's not a part of
qualified
the fact.
to an insurance company.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She's not worth anything to the insurance company unless she's taking medications.
Yeah.
Or getting operated on. But mostly it's the medications.
How can we be invasive towards your body and charge you for it?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the main reason I feel like with the vaccines, like we should at least be able to question that without, like, it's more sinister to me that we're not supposed to be allowed to question that on behalf of the left.
Yeah.
Like,
I questioned it.
I don't care anymore. I got the vaccine.
But I was one of those people that I already had, I've always had asthma, and I've always had chronic kidney disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so that virus had my name on it,
Mm-hmm.
So my husband and I completely isolated. We didn't see anybody. And then when we did go out, we went out when nobody was out, like at 7 o'clock in the morning when nobody's shopping, with our masks on. And we did that for 2 years. And when he finally went out and he finally did bring COVID home, it wasn't as bad. I would have just thought I had a really bad cold. He got more ill than I did, and that's happened with a lot of people our age, the men get much more sick than the women. I don't know why, but I've heard it from like 5 women my age now.
And
Where the couples both got sick, and
pass
the
away
men
before the women.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I met a
think
woman
there's
yesterday
big health
who's
crisis with men.
her husband's completely incapacitated from COVID. Completely. No mind, no body, no nothing. Just a lump, and she has to take care of him night and day.
Goodness.
So
I do
it's
get
not a joke,
nurse.
you know. And all I want to say is, I expect more of these, because the climate change is uncovering ancient viruses. And I read about this 5 years before COVID happened. And I read that they were taking them back to the universities. And I said to my husband, well, we know this is going to work out great, because humans are so careful and perfect. So I expect more. And I've told my sons that. Prepare your children to wear masks. They don't cost much. They don't hurt anybody. All they do is make everybody a little bit safer. And then, really, is it that big a deal? It just seems like common sense to me. The shots, I understand. I've been mistreated massively by the medical industry, because I'm a mental health patient who's 69. I've taken shit that has killed people. I've taken shit that's taken their eyesight away. You know, I mean, I'm not particularly trustful of doctors. I've always hated doctors, you know, because of this whole mess. But there is such a thing as common sense, folks.
But
really.
Everyone thinks they have it. That's the problem.
They don't. They don't even think. They don't give a shit. Here's what common sense used to be, and that's that everybody would just do what they needed to do to keep each other safe from each other. So they would separate when they were sick. People don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
We've lost any sense of
really.
fear when it comes to, like, it's like we simultaneously feel invincible and like anything could kill us at the same time. Like, everyone's hypochondriac, but also blithely like, oh, that won't affect me.
Yeah.
We are a country of contradictions, and it's tearing everybody apart. And the first thing, I like to definitely get away from any us or them talk when it comes to health specifically, because this is where we're trying to come home to our bodies. And even this Capricorn Cancer axis, right? So the sun is in Cancer, the moon is in Capricorn. This is an opposition. And in the body, the Capricorn represents the umbilicus, the navel. This is where we come into the world, where our soul comes into our body. So spiritually speaking and emotionally, this part of the body is where we feel most at home, or welcome to your home, welcome to your body. And then the spleen is more like hospitality. And somewhere on the internet, I don't know where I found this, but they likened the spleen, it's the other side, to the quote in the Bible, "Give us this day our daily bread." I wish I remembered. I know that the spleen stores blood for us, and they say we can live without a spleen, but it seems like one of those organs that is...
They say that about a lot of things.
They do.
And then you find out that's not really so true. It does affect people.
Yes, because we're not seeing ourselves holistically.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, the umbilicus welcomes us to the body, and the spleen is giving us our meals, nutrition. But these are just, we want to display these as energies for you to tap into and be grateful for. So be grateful for your navel, the fact that you were connected to a mother, and that I keep spacing on the cord, the umbilical cord, umbilicus.
Yeah.
That you have a source, an intelligent source that knows the body that you were given. And we just have to tap into our own innate knowledge of our body and what has been learned. Like, when you start to tap into the energies of your organs, you start to learn where they are. We've got kidneys here, spleen here. I'm not going to go over the whole thing because it's just going to go whoosh. But as you follow the moon, if you get a book like this, you can follow the moon and learn every couple days a different part of your body and how to care for it and how to send love to it. And I think we could heal ourselves from home. We can prevent
Yeah.
a lot of the dysfunction.
This book has changed my life. Yeah,
Yeah, both of us.
yeah.
I mean,
it
and
has.
it's still doing its work on me. I feel like I'm in the middle, kind of in the weeds as it's all gelling in my brain. But we've been working with it since, was that?
Months.
Yeah, like last fall.
Mm.
And we've both experienced incredible healing in that time.
Yeah. And
after tragedies.
Well, and the other day I had a little anger day the other day too. There are some aspects, I do think the aspects affect us, or at least me. I've noticed that because I've watched a book for years now. And I don't seem to do as well when there's, what is it, Scorpio and when Mars is at play.
Anything
and,
Mars, like Scorpio or Aries.
Yeah, those three.
Mm-hmm.
God.
All
my PTSD stuff just comes right up there.
And that will come up to
yes.
And that's another aspect. This is why the medical industry gets away with what it does, because healing brings the dark stuff to the surface.
That's part of it. It's always uglier before you get well.
Yes.
Always. Without fail.
So if you're conditioned to lose hope at the first sign of no progress, but real progress is a spiral.
Yeah, if you think like most Americans do that one pill is going to solve your bloody problem, you're going to be in trouble.
Real progress takes time, and it's a spiral. You go 3 steps forward, and then you get knocked back 2 steps.
Yeah.
3 steps forward, knocked back 2 steps. That is how it is supposed to go.
I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I said I would, but where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, we went out to lunch the other day because it was one of those 15 take days for my Crow Chronicle, and I was in a rotten mood by the time that was over. And Sweetie Pie here texts me, and she goes, "I think we should go have fun." And I'm like, "Let's get the hell out of here." So I picked this up because this is an apricot quartz. I'm into rocks. I'm into vibrations. I'm a musician. I'm a poet. You know, if it's got space and rhythm, I'm in it.
The priests that say these do nothing have no intuition.
Yeah.
They're not connected.
No, they're not, because
they have disconnected themselves and put themselves on a
pedestal. I can walk into a rock shop and I can touch the rock that I need. And I want to recommend the book's called The Book of Stones by Robert Simmons. He's very knowledgeable, and they have excellent photographs. They've really helped me a lot. Anyway, I'd gotten this one because this is supposed to help with childhood joy and, some emotional healing into the sacrum, and all that.
Pleasure, fun.
So I stuck it in my purse. Okay, so I took it with me. So we go over to Pawhuska, Oklahoma to play tourist and have fun, just trot around. Okay, and I was still mad. I'd been mad. I'd talked about what I was mad about, and I was still mad. So I picked this up, and I had a handbag that I had to hold like this. I grabbed the middle finger because that's the one for anger, which is pretty funny.
If you're angry.
This is if you're angry, you grab that finger.
Instead of throwing it up. Just grab it.
You grab it and give it some nourishment. Yeah. So I walked around. I wish I had my purse with me. I walked around with, let's say this was the purse. I walked around like this for an hour looking at stuff. And do you know what? It went away. It just went away. I wasn't angry anymore.
Yeah, you haven't been since.
No, I haven't been since.
Wow. Because she was raging the whole way there. I was just
I was. I was.
We are pro expressions of anger. I'm even angry about the seeming active suppression of anger from spiritual communities.
Oh God, yes.
We have to have some outlet, or at least a martial art. We don't have to get messy on the internet, which has been my preferred style. But that's because I want people to see it and understand that it's okay to just blah. It's okay.
Dogs do it.
Yeah.
Possums do it. That's one thing I started noticing is that I decided to one year, I think it was 2019, I decided that in the Bible, the apple was language. That was the problem, was language. Because I noticed that when if a dog was in a bad mood or hurting or whatever, they snarl at the other dog or whatever, and it's over. That dog knows it's not time to socialize. They walk off. They leave them alone. It doesn't last for 20 days because they're going, well, it must have meant something. you know, like humans do,
Well-
because we have all these words to work with.
And language is inherently deceitful. We even when we use it for the good, like this is the shadow side of a lot of the feminine, beautiful spirituality. It's great and it's soothing. We need it, but we can use it to spiritually bypass. We can just tune out of our dark stuff and listen to. You're getting the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups, and you're gonna be great. Everything's gonna be wonderful tomorrow by 3 p.m.
And it's not
And
the
then
only
it's not.
one. Yoga people are like that. Christians are like that. I've been saved. Everything's wonderful. And, you know, in yoga and things like that, people can get that way. They can go, well, what's your problem? You must not be doing your yoga practice correctly. I've lived in both places. I've lived in the Bible Belt and on the West Coast. And I got attacked by both kinds of people. It doesn't, you know, you can
Oh,
be
you're still
so,
having problems?
yes,
Sorry,
you
you suck at
can
life.
be self-righteous about anything, you know, absolutely anything. So one of the things you have to learn to do when you're bipolar 1, meaning just human, or you have PTSD, which means human with a lot of trauma, then you have to learn to love yourself. You know, this is the pose for Sagittarius, which is your umbilicus.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And
that.
this is how I started the day, because I thought it was still Sagittarius. I didn't look at the
Capricorn,
calendar this morning.
This is the diaphragm, which that is what
Well, it
the
is the
diaphragm
diaphragm.
is.
Yes, it
And
is.
that's what Sagittarius is.
And this is,
connected with.
this is like hugging yourself.
Yeah, it is.
You know, this morning was the first
also,
time I
it
ever
feels
really felt
protective.
that way. I realized what this was about.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for months, you know?
It feels like more of an open, like instead of crossing.
Yes. No, this is open.
I am protected from your energy, but still open to
And you'll feel
love
energy in your body, because
between us.
you're holding a point over here. It's important. And then this in here is important. So you're hitting some pressure points that are very, very important. And then when you do this is actually the mudra for the day for Capricorn. This is a heart point out here on your elbow. And then this one, do you remember what this one is?
This represents eternity, and this represents authority. So it's like recognizing divine authority.
But they're also attached to parts of your
They
body.
connect an
Where is
energy
that?
flow. Well, this is
see.
for Capricorn. It's the umbilicus. I don't know what you're talking about with parts of the body.
Well,
I think we're getting
each of these things
overwhelming with
each of these things
information.
mean something. Where is
But
that?
it's important. Like we were just talking about animals, how they communicate their needs.
I mean, but I think about this. I want to talk about this because
Okay.
it connects to all the other things. In Asian medicine, every point in your body connects to another point in your body. So when you touch here, this is a heart spot. This is a heart spot. This is your sinuses, obviously. But I believe it's also attached to some organ.
When you don't know, just rest assured that it's all connected.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I'm not giving up on this just yet. You go ahead and talk, because I'd like to be able to tell people what that is.
I wanted to say, like, just as we have to take responsibility for our own health, we have to take responsibility for communicating our needs to the people in our life and not expecting them to know or assuming that they would or should know.
Yeah.
We have to learn in some language and experiment with the languages. If you're not getting across to someone about what you need in the relationship or just for your own body, then experiment with, if you need to bark at somebody, try it. If you've never done that before, get angry. See if you get a different result. I'm so calm, people don't even know when I'm angry, really. So I've worked to express my anger so that people will know when I'm angry, and I hope it's working. But
I can't find it. But anyway, you just need to know that all these things are attached. It's like, you know, your lymphatic system goes throughout your body. You can't touch any part of your body that isn't affecting another part of your body.
I've started doing with my stepfather, we get up and we do the 6-point lymphatic drain. Like there's 6 points of the body that you go across.
Down here, here, here.
We don't need to go through that right now, but I might post a short displaying that.
Cool.
it's good to do every day, and it detoxes us. This is unpleasant, but an hour after I did it the first day, I got diarrhea. And that was not supposed to happen. There's no way that, that's the only thing I can attribute it to.
Yeah.
And it happened a little less and a little less the next days. Today's the third day that we've done it together. But it's
working.
I feel like it is. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And it feels good. It gets you started for the day. If you wake up, if you roll out of bed and you just don't do anything, like I take hours to adjust to the day. But if I'll do something simple and physical like this, then I'm ready to go. And just not having been disciplined or taught anything really, when I get out of bed, I haven't done anything most of my life, and I don't want to.
Yeah, and that's the way my husband
now that I
is.
have to make myself, because I'm seeing people fall apart early. Like this has been my life journey the past couple years, is people with terminal illnesses everywhere, and I know it's part of my dharma. And it's funny because I wouldn't even call it karma, because it is bringing me joy, because I know that we need the depth that our dark stuff in life brings, but we can make it way less dark. Like entropy, gravity, decay, these are things we are always going to contend with in the organic world. Oh, we've gone on a long time, but that's okay, because this is a really important episode, period.
Well, we're trying something new. It's going to take us a while to figure out the timing, because we've decided we want to be giving rock solid information every time we talk.
Yes. And so, again, we are organic beings. We are going to die. Decay and entropy are certain. Dis-ease is not. Dis-ease we can cure. And the prevailing thought right now is that disease is forever. That once you have this disorder, you are identified with it and you are it forever. Like I will still call myself bipolar 1 if it helps people. I don't believe that I am. I
believe you are, because it's just a word. It's been a word to describe
do words
people
mean something
who are
or not?
in dis-ease. Okay? People who are in dis-ease. For thousands of years, they called it manic depression before that. So it is a recognized form of dis-ease. But if you deal with it early, it doesn't become a progressive illness, and it doesn't turn into physical illnesses, which it by God does if it's not addressed correctly way early on. Mine certainly wasn't.
Here's how I became bipolar.
Yeah.
Was by being perfectly fine and constantly being told that I was diseased. So,
listening to you in the last year, it seemed like you had several things kind of happening. So there was crises.
Yeah.
And that's generally how bipolar shows up. A person hits some kind of crisis usually in their 20s or their 30s.
I'm not trying to say I'm perfect.
No, I know that.
Shit happens.
Yes.
And we react.
And it's dis-ease. I'm not calling it a disease. I'm calling it dis-ease.
Yeah, I think I want to start being very clear, like, with words. Words have meanings. Like, if we're going to use language, which is
So are you uncomfortable with dis-ease? That's what I'm trying to find out. Okay.
I'm not. I'm uncomfortable with anybody telling anybody that they have anything. That should, unless, because it's just a temporary portrait, like something in the mirror to see, so that you can go, oh, here's what I can fix. And
yes, and that takes words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes words.
It does. So bipolar 1, when you look up the symptoms, like one of the first things that I was like, well, that's not really me. It was like excessive shopping, overly sexual. There were so many things that I did not identify with. It was only the manic episode, and I recognized that I enter mania when I'm uncomfortable in social environments. But so if we're going to be talking bipolar 1,
Well, then I would even wonder if you're even bipolar 1.
I
Because
mean, I've been thinking
because
that.
I have all the things that they list as bipolar 1.
Mhm.
You may be bipolar 2. And I've seen people just misdiagnosed.
I guess
You know.
I want to portray for others the transition
Yeah.
out of identifying as having an illness or disease. So I think I'm going to be pretty set with, I no longer have bipolar 1 disorder because
But we're still on the same schedule. See, that's what I find
I
is
follow the
interesting.
moon. I am a cyclical creature.
Yeah,
I have
well,
ups and downs.
That's what I've
Manic
said.
depression is inherent.
Yeah.
So do we have to call what's innate a disease?
You can call it dis-ease. There is a difference between saying it's a disease and saying it is
Here's another
dis-ease. Because it is dis-ease. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable to be like this when these cycles are happening.
It's
was very
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
I was so comfortable around the age of 26 to 28, 29.
Mm-hmm.
There was such a beautiful era of my life where I just enjoyed the lows and I enjoyed the highs. And
You didn't have any responsibility.
We
should probably stop this because we're going on.
But I think
What time is
it
it?
might be important to talk because
We could probably start this subject next time because we kind
I'm
of
just
are
saying,
veering off.
I was at a point of
Yeah.
wonderful health.
Yeah.
And I didn't have responsibilities because I wasn't going to build a shaky foundation.
Yeah.
I was going to build myself first and get to that good place myself and hope to attract another person in a good place. And that is not what happened because everyone else is insistent that we are all dysfunctional. And I just don't believe that that's the truth. And
We're going to
our
peace out with
nature.
that one. Bye.
Peace out.